Hey, you guys know what time it is. Here on EB Radio and YouTube. It's time for the 1130 podcast, everybody. Let's get it.
I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. 1130 podcast, Dre on wheels, he is the one. Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? Let's get it, yeah. No, with me, yeah. I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. Let's get it. 1130 podcast, Dre on wheels, he is the one. He the one, nigga. So let's get it, baby. He the one with me.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels. Y'all already know what it is, man. Welcome back, you guys, to the 1130 podcast. What's goody? How everybody doing out there? Appreciate you guys joining me back here for another exciting episode, you guys, of the 1130 podcast. Good morning, good night, good afternoon to all my listeners all across the world, man, and all my people who's coming back on YouTube to watch it, man. For everybody who's listening on EB Radio, good morning, you guys, man. I appreciate you guys joining me back here for another dope episode. If you guys watching on YouTube and if you're new to the channel, sit tight, man. It's gonna be a great one, you guys. And also hit that subscribe button down below. Yes, hit it down below, like it, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode. Share it so we can get the 1130 podcast up and out there even more. And also, you guys, man, don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. But you guys, man, yo, it's Wednesday. You know what time it is. It's time for the 1130 podcast. I got a great guest lined up this week, you guys, man. Great guest. I've been trying to get him on the podcast for a little while, but today is the magic day, you guys. We're gonna make it work, you guys. Man, coming to us from Tucson, Arizona, you guys. My man Cisco, you guys. He's the host of Brazen Veracity, you guys. He's a retired military and army veteran, you guys. And so that's gonna be awesome to chat with him and just pick his brain and get to know him also here on the 1130 podcast. You dig, man? But yo, man, let's get into the show. We ain't gonna waste no time. Cisco, how's it going, brother?
Like I said, brother, I'm blessed. I can't complain. Even if I could, it wouldn't change anything. So why do it?
Hey, man, that's what's up, man. I like that, man. How's life treating you right now?
You know, honestly, life is good. You know, there's nothing really that, like I said, I can complain about. I got a good wife. You know, I'm got here with my kids, and I'm serving God. I'm serving the community. You know, so I'm loving life right now. I'm loving life.
Okay, man, that's what's up, man. I'm loving it, man. I appreciate you joining me here on the podcast. It's going to be a great episode, man. It's going to be a really, really great one. I got the chance to know you over the time of networking, man, and just getting a little something, you know, a little to know you. But for my viewers and listeners who joined me this week on the podcast, can you tell them something a little about yourself?
Yeah, like my brother Dre said here, I'm from Tucson, Arizona. I'm a retired vet. I did over 20 years, almost 22 years in both the Marine Corps and the Army. You know, I did go to combat. I had 2 tours to Iraq. I dealt with a lot coming back from there. But I'm so grateful that God changed my life, and now I'm on the up and up, and I'm blessed. I'm married, been married for 10 years. I got half a dozen kids, literally. That's not a joke. I mean, like 6 kids I actually got, you know, going from ages 23 all the way to 4. You know, at that point I had to say, you know, that's enough. I can't do it no more. But you know, we're doing good right now. You know, we're doing really good right now.
Hey, man, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. You got to get honored, man. Father's Day coming up next month, man. So that's what's up. 6 kids, man. Half a dozen. But man, yo, Cisco, thank you for sharing that. And I appreciate you joining me on the podcast. Like I was saying before the show, man, you know how we get down. For everybody who's listening and watching too, we're going to start it off, you guys, man, with the WTF moment of the week, you guys. Yes, the WTF moment of the week. I got my guest here. I'm allowing him to go first. The WTF moment, for my listeners and guests, is just anything crazy you may have seen or heard throughout the week. I know it's just been some crazy times we living in right now, but Cisco, you have a WTF moment you like to share?
You know, honestly, I think one of the moments is I think is how people freak out if someone's gonna get the shot or whether they're not. You know, honestly, personally, I just see it like this: it's nobody else's business but mine and my doctors if I'm going to get that shot or not. If you want to get it, get it. If you don't. You know, you don't have to broadcast it either way. But it just trips me out to see how people freak out about something that should be personal anyways,
Yeah, it's something real personal. It's your
Yeah.
decision whether you want to go get it. And you ain't got to share it to the whole world. I think since the whole vaccine came up, it was been controversy all around the board. So everybody got opinion or somewhat to say about it. So yeah, man, I respect that, man. Keep it to yourself. If it's for you, it's just for you, man. If it's for you, and that's a WTF moment, for real, man, because it's crazy times we living in right now. But yo, man, go get the vaccine. We trying to get back to normal, man. We trying to get back to normal. But you guys, man, my WTF moment of the week, you guys, it's crazy. I'm always coming up with some crazy WTF moments, you guys, here on the podcast each and every week. This one, you guys, straight out of Florida once again. But this one is crazy. It's not funny, but it's a serious situation. But it was crazy, you guys. An elementary school principal and the clerk, you guys, are being investigated. They got in some hot water, you guys, because they pulled a paddle out on a 6-year-old girl at an elementary school. The story was the 6-year-old girl damaged a computer. The fees was about $50 to repair it. And, they called her mom. Her mom had the money. She was coming up to, get it repaired and stuff or pay the fee. And when she came up there to pay the fee, she goes into the principal office where, the clerk is, and come to find out is a paddle out right there. And a lot of people were saying why the mom didn't intervene or whatever like that. She felt some type of way. And she looked around to see if there wasn't any cameras. So she started secretly recording what was going on. The teacher or the principal spanked, the 6-year-old girl. And I was like, really, what was going on? But WTF right there. Like, I mean, this is 2021 and that is going on right here in our schools and in the schools. And she recorded it to say, to pull back the lid to show you what was going on at this elementary school. They could have been doing it to other kids. Who knows? But yeah, WTF moment right there. This week, you guys, on the podcast, man. That's crazy. But you guys, man, we're going to move on here on the podcast. Like I said, I got my guest Cisco here. With Memorial Day, you guys, coming up later on this month, you guys, I want to salute to everybody. I have family members, I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys do, who served in the military or the army, all across, this country. So salute go out to you guys. My man Cisco, as he explained, he's a retired military veteran. You were talking about on your podcast, man. I listened to it. You came right out of high school, I believe you said. You went into the military. What was that process like? Coming straight out of high school, going right into the military.
Where I come up from, it's not actually a very nice side of town, and I was getting involved in some things that I really was in over my head, just regular trying to make it in the hood, So when the time came, I was ready to get out of town. I graduated high school, and I called the recruiter, said I'm ready. Went and took the test. He took me to get the physical. I came home, and a couple days later after that, I was gone. What I should have done? I should have waited till after Christmas, because it was 5 days before Christmas. So my mom was pretty upset about that. So I missed Christmas and New Year's, but I was ready to start life. I was already 18, and I was ready to start life, and I didn't see myself starting life where I was at. I didn't see myself starting life with the environment I was in. So I said, I need to change something. I had to make a decision, and I did it. And the Marine Corps took me, and I went to boot camp, and I realized really quick how real it got. And it was tough. I'm gonna tell you, I'm not a big guy. I'm 5'3". I'm 5'3", and at that time I was only weighing about 105, so I wasn't weighing a lot. And it was physically challenging. It was mentally challenging. I think it was even emotionally challenging. But it even came to a point where I wrote a letter to my mom, and I told her, I think I made a mistake. I don't think I'm made to be a Marine. I think I made a bad decision. And a couple weeks later, I got a letter from my mom, and I was expecting her to say, it's okay. I didn't want you to go anyways. But that's not what she said.
Mhm.
My mom gave me some actual tough love. She said, "You told me that you were a grown man making your own decisions. Now you need to stick to your decision." And I was heartbroken by that. Like literally, I almost wanted to shed a tear if I wasn't in a room full of men. But then she wrote to me and she said, "But I know that when your mind is set and you're made up, you can accomplish whatever you want." You know, and because of that, because she showed me that tough love, because she didn't baby me or didn't spoil me or just allow me to quit, is why I was able to stick it through, and I was able to accomplish and overcome so much more that I thought that were just my limits. You know, I was able to push myself to the limit, and not just to the limit, but past the limit. What way more than what I thought I could do. You know, and I'm grateful to my mother for that.
That's awesome. That's really, really awesome. What made you want to, join the military? You speak that you were ready to, get into life, just find something to do. What got you, what called the military for you?
Yeah. Well, my grandfather was a World War II vet, and then my biological father, he had just joined the army. He was in only about 2 months, and then he got killed. It wasn't combat or nothing like that. He got hit by a car, and he died. So, I was only 7 months old, so I never even really got to know my father. Um, so it was just something ever since I was really young I wanted to do. You know, something I really wanted to do. And then I had two of my friends, they went into the Marine Corps right before me. One about a year, another one just about a month before me. So it was something that we want to do together, you know?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's really cool, man. Hey, you
Yeah.
gotta stick to something when you got something on your mind, or something on your heart that you want to do. You gotta go after it, and hey, that's what's up. But you also in your podcast, also, which I'm gonna get to in just a bit, you talked about how you were in the military and you came home. You came home a couple of times and you went back and you were trying to make a decision, whether you really wanted to go back on that. And you spoke about how civilization was just not right for you at the moment. What was not clicking for you in civilization?
Well, what the thing was is when I did my 4 years in the Marine Corps and I completed my contract, I was coming home. Um, just my mindset had already moved. You know, it wasn't the same. I wasn't into the hood stuff no more. You know, I had matured as a man. You know, I had already traveled the world. At that time, I already been to Japan twice. I've been to Thailand. I've been to Korea. So I got to experience things outside of just the neighborhood, just outside of Tucson, south side of Tucson. So when I came back and I see people doing the same things over and over again, that what I was trying to escape from, I already knew, all right, this wasn't for me. I even tried getting a job, and I was working. I had a good job at the airport, for a little bit, but just um the the different mindset, it was just different. It was just different. I didn't feel like I fit in there anymore. I didn't feel like I fit in that same box, that same category anymore. So uh in that process, during that time, I had a child right before I was about to get out, and then I was about to have another child during that time, and that's when I had to make a decision: do I go back in, or do I try to make it out here? And the military, just seemed like the pros outweighed the cons, and the army gave me a better deal, so I ended up going into the army at that time.
Okay. And then also
Yeah.
by you going to the army, sights and sounds that places that you would probably never been, in the world without, maybe joining the army and stuff like that. But since you've been retiring, how's life been, for you?
Well, honestly, uh there's been times that it was a challenge. I retired. As a matter of fact, yesterday made it 6 years that I retired. And I came back home, and at the beginning it was a little bit of a challenge, because you're used to one way of living for 20 plus years, and then to come out and not have that anymore,
Mm.
it's quite an adjustment. I got a job right away, even before I retired, working for a life insurance company. And I mean, it's a great company. I mean, there was people that are making 6 digits easy right there, and I was being mentored by some people there, being coached, and it was great. But I was in a town that I didn't know anybody, so I had to hustle a little bit harder. the benefits from my retirement hadn't kicked in yet. And I just pretty much had to make it. I had to make it. And honestly, if it wasn't for my faith in God, I don't know how far I could have gone. I don't know how far I could have gone. Thank God I have a wife that's faithful, and we're raising up our kids on how to trust God and everything. And I had to make a move. I retired from El Paso, Texas, and God said we had to come back to Tucson. I didn't want to, but I was just having to be obedient, and because of that, God has even taken me to new levels and new places. Coming
Amen.
out of there, um, I had the opportunity to run our recovery home for men for our church, and I did that for 2.5 years. And one of my graduates, he was a heroin addict. This guy was struggling bad, and he came in, and we helped him out, cleaned him up, and we built a whole new church and everything. And now he's the one that's running it. So to
Mm,
me, that's more beautiful than any paycheck I could have ever gotten. See
mm.
someone's life restored, their marriage restored, and to see them doing good in life, man, that's greater than any other paycheck.
Yeah, you're right. You are right about that, man. For real. That's really cool. That you recovered and in your time in the military and stuff like that. You also talked about how you were been in your 10-year anniversary with your wife. Congratulations on that. Really, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What's the key on a 10-year anniversary with your wife?
All right, the key is this, because I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna be a little transparent here. All right, this isn't my first marriage, and it ain't even my second marriage. All right,
Okay.
I'm on my third marriage,
Mm,
and what was lacking in my first two was God.
mm,
Plain and simple. Marriage is like a triangle where the husband's on one side, the wife's on the other side, and the only thing that keeps you connected is the marriage, right? And
mm,
God's right here at the very top of the triangle. But the closer that each one of us get to God, the closer we get to each other. And honestly, that's the key. If my wife didn't, if she loved me more than she loved God, we wouldn't make it. If I loved her more than I love God, we wouldn't make it. I wouldn't even know how to love my wife if I didn't have God.
mm.
And that's really the difference.
Hey,
Everybody can give you all kinds of advice, and I've heard it all, and none of that advice worked, especially when it says just do what you feel is right in your heart. Because my heart without God is something not right. It's something pretty evil. But
mm,
once I had God in it, He changed my perspective. He changed my outlook. He changed my mentality, gave me patience when I didn't have it, gave me understanding when I didn't have it, helped me to make wiser decisions,
mm.
and taught me what true love really is.
Hey, that's what's up. You got to give the glory all to God because man, he will change stuff in your life. He will change it,
Hmm.
and that's bold facts right there. You talk about bold facts on your podcast, Brazen Veracity. Can you tell my listeners and viewers about it because it comes out each and every Monday? I love it, man.
Yeah. Brazen Veracity is a weekly podcast where I just talk about the bold truth. That's what Brazen Veracity means. In case anyone didn't know, I'm not trying to insult anybody's intelligence, but a lot of people ask me, what does that even mean?
Mm,
Brazen just means bold. You're just being bold. You're brash about it. And veracity means the truth without shame. So we're just talking bold truth about things that are going on today, real life issues that people deal with, but from a Christian perspective. And the reason that I do it from the Christian perspective is because a lot of people are churched out. A lot of people
mhm,
think that the church is just a scam, and they've seen so many things on TVs and maybe even their own experiences. But honestly, I can say from my experience, and I can't speak for nobody else's, but from my experience, that when I have put to practice the things that I have learned, the things that I have read, and did it all, it actually works. It's not a trick. It's not a formula. It's not that. It's having the correct perspective given from the one who created everything in this earth, including you and me.
mm.
We all have a purpose. There's one thing that I try to emphasize in my show is that we were created on purpose and for a purpose. And we'll never be satisfied until we find out what that purpose is and begin living in it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Everybody got their purpose in life to, where they gotta go in life and stuff. You found your peace in life. You were in your backyard, uh, watering your plants, and God spoke to you because everything you were struggling. Can you tell my listeners about that? Because a lot of people, don't understand the power, the power of God.
Yeah. So this was right after I came back from Iraq the first time. I was dealing with a lot mentally. I was having a lot of nightmares. I had a lot of anxiety. The only thing that I had really to know how to deal with it was alcohol. I was drinking a lot anyways because that's a culture in the military. I was dealing with a lot mentally, and the only way that I could cope with it was with what I knew was with drinking. I'd had to drink to calm my nerves. I had to drink to fall asleep, and hopefully that I wasn't having another nightmare. And like I said, I had just turned 30, so I wasn't young, but I wasn't old either. And as I was in my backyard watering my plants, I was just questioning life with things that I think a lot of people ask normally. You know, I was wondering, I'm 30 years old right now. Are my next 30 years gonna be like my last 30 years? Is that all I got to look
Mhm.
forward to?
Mhm.
Um, then I was thinking, okay, where's the truth in life? Because I know, like for me, that there's been people in my life that um said they would be there for me and they weren't. But then at the same time, I said the same thing and I wasn't always truthful. So it was like, okay, where is the truth in this? And then I,
Mhm.
I was wondering, where does it all end? Right? Or is it true that there is a heaven and a hell, or are we just born, we live and we die, and that's it? And then right there, while I was questioning these things, God answered me and he said, everything that I'm looking for, I find it in him. I was looking for direction. He said he was the way. I was looking for validity. He said he was the truth. I was looking for destination. And he said he is the life. And that no one comes to the Father except through him. And that just cut me in my heart. That just cut me so deep that I was looking everywhere else except for the one who created me. And then right there by myself in my backyard, I got on my knees and I didn't even really know how to pray, but I just said, Lord, I need you. Come into my heart, take away my sins. And I'm telling you, I wept. I wept because I felt the peace of God come upon me. I felt that weight of everything that I've done wrong in my life, every bad decision, everything that I said, everything that I did. It was finally lifted off of me and I was given a whole new life. It was like a brand new board where I can just start all over again. And life just has been different ever since. And I can tell you honestly that from that day, I never had another nightmare. Not one. Never had another nightmare about being in the war, never reimagining all that again. My anxiety went straight down. And life has just been better. I'm not gonna say easier, but it's been better.
That's good, man. That's good that is doing better and stuff, man, because I couldn't imagine. And I gotta say, the process in life is what it's all about. At one point in my time, I used to drink a whole lot, and I really wasn't happy about that because I was dealing with stuff mentally, being was I happy with myself, was I comfortable with myself, and stuff like that. So man, it wasn't probably until about like I want to say maybe 2 years ago that I like really stopped just like taking some time out for real and just being alone and just talking to God and just showing me different ways and just showing me different things in my life. And I know ever since then it just been going up. Like I said, it ain't been easy. It's just just been a work in progress, and you give all the glory to God. Everything and anything is possible. What keeps you motivated and inspired on a daily basis?
What keeps me motivated is seeing that my children don't ever have to live like how I used to live. Seeing that they don't ever have to go through what I had to go through. I saw a quote the other day on Facebook, and I think it was from Bruce Lee, and it said, Parents shouldn't try to give their kids everything that they never had. What they should do is try to teach them the lessons that they were never taught. Right. So I don't want my kids to experience some of the consequences and the things that I had gone through. So to me, that's what keeps me going, knowing that I'm gonna leave a legacy that is better than what I had inherited growing up. Not that I had bad parents. My mom did the best that she could. My stepdad, as much as he could, he tried to do his best, and but life is life, and people make decisions. But there has to come a point in everyone's life where they have to say, is this it, or is there something else?
Right.
Everyone comes to that crossroad in some point, and to me, it's when I look at my kids and I say, I want better for them than for me. Now, they don't have to have all the newest shoes. They don't have to have the newest J's and all that, because those J's are gonna come and they're gonna go. They're gonna outgrow them. They're gonna they're gonna change with the trend. But what's gonna last is the lessons that we teach them in life.
You're right about that, man. You're so right about that. But you guys, man, we're gonna move on here on the 1130 podcast.
Yo, you guys, hope you guys are enjoying the show this Wednesday on the 1130 podcast. But you guys, man, sit tight. I gotta take a quick commercial break here on EB Radio and YouTube, you dig? So sit tight, you guys, for real. I'm not going nowhere. All right, after this, the show gonna continue, for real. You're listening, you're watching to the 1130 podcast, you dig?
Yeah, they gon' hate, but they ain't stopping this. I'ma keep making hits. Dre and Wills, it ain't no copying. Was you sitting there on the carpet with us?
Welcome to EB Radio.
Everyone has something to say, a story to tell. We make it easy to share yours. So let's talk.
Regardless of your podcast setup, hit record. And from there, whether your podcast reaches 10 people or 10 million, we can help you get heard wherever listeners are.
And who knows, maybe even quit your day job.
But no matter who hears you, it's about connecting and sharing something from your perspective.
It's about having a voice and using it without anything standing in your way. Say it all with Anchor.
Yo, welcome back here to the 1130 podcast. Appreciate you guys sticking with me throughout the commercial break. We back here on EB Radio and YouTube. We're not gonna waste no more time. Let's get back to the show.
My man Cisco, what you think about what's going on in the country right now?
Honestly, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart to see as much division as there is in this country. Because, and I think you probably heard it in my podcast a lot, that too many times that people look at each other on the outside when we're all people. People are people. Just because someone's got a better tan than somebody else doesn't mean that anyone's better than anybody else. I think honestly, once you get to know people, regardless whether they're lighter, whether they're darker, whether there's someone in between, whether they have money, whether they don't, whether they're from this side of town or whether they're from that side of town, once you get to know people, then none of that makes a difference. None of that really makes a difference, because Jesus died for the rich man and the poor man. He died for the black and the white and the brown and the yellow and everybody in between. He died for us all. So I think that when we start looking at each other as people that were created in the image of God, then a lot of this division will be, I don't want to say non-existence, but it'll be very, very minimal. I think is what we take in, what we look at, what we listen to is what kind of guides people's opinions, and that's the hard part, because information's everywhere. It's just which information are you listening to,
You're right about that one, man. That's crazy. Another thing you spoke on your podcast is talking about, man, how people has forgotten God, and that's why a lot of things that is so combust right now, and the last year that we just been living, man. Can you explain that for me?
Yeah, history repeats itself. It really does. History really repeats itself, and this is not anything new. If anyone's a follower of Bible history and things like that, there was the nation that that God had separated and ordained, to be the priests of the world. But there was a time that they forgot God and they suffered consequences for it. They were judged and they were they suffered consequences. And then here we are, hundreds and thousands of years later in the United States of America, which was, ordained to be a Christian nation. There were people that were escaping Europe so that they can worship freely. And I'm not going to get into all the history because, people have different opinions of history. But when it was declared that our rights come from God, the creator, that's the moment that our nation was blessed. And it didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter what nation you came from. History is history, and every nation has its own history. It does. Some of it is good, some of it is not so good. But the thing of history is that you learn from it. And we've come to a point where a lot of other countries have, where people have forgotten God. God has been taken out of schools. It's been taken out of public places. It's been taken out of politics. It's been taken out of courts. It's been taken out of every area that influences people's lives. And because of that, we see what we got now. We see more people in prisons than in school. And the thing that amazes me is that Bibles are allowed in the prisons, but they're not allowed in the elementary schools. But if we had them more in the elementary schools, maybe we wouldn't have so many people in the prison.
That is so true, man. Why is that? Why is that it's been taken out of so many, places?
Honestly, there is, if you look in the Constitution, there is the clause of separation of church and state, but I think people have misconstrued what that was intended to mean. With that, just as they don't want, they say, any religion influencing people one way or another, because of the separation of church and state, because of the removal of that, there's an influence that comes in that is completely contrary to what God has said. It's not your the molecules in your mind. It's not your brain cells that determine that if stealing is bad, right? It was God that was given the commandment, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, right? Because all those things have consequences. All those things have consequences. And I think sometimes people have become so intelligent, and so educated that they feel that they don't need God.
Hey man, that makes a whole lot of sense. I remember it was sometime last year. I was going to the bank. I was at the bank, and it was this lady who was just, going off. She was having a rant about everything that was going on. It was just about it was just a little after the time that COVID just hit, and places were shutting down, schools were shutting down, and everything. And she was just just going off and talk about how just how you were saying how they taking God out of schools and all these different places, and it's just so much, man. It's just is real hot and it's deep. So I understand, I understand all that, man, for real. But people don't have God in their life. They need it in their life right now, especially in this crazy times right now that we live in there right now. For real, we need it. But you guys, man, we're gonna move on here on the 1130 podcast, you guys. It's time, you guys, for the hot seat, you guys. Yes, we're gonna bring in the hot seat. I got 6 questions from my man Cisco right here on the 1130 podcast, you guys. Cisco, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. First, if you could relive your time in duty, would you do it all over again?
Absolutely. There were some experiences I had there that I would not change for the world. That's what helped shape me to who I am today.
Okay, cool. What do you wish to travel to, and why?
Well, I've traveled a lot of nations. I think the one that I really want to go to is the nation of Israel, because that was the land where my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ walked, and I would love to see the Garden of Gethsemane, the Mount of Olives, Jerusalem, all those places of where my Lord has walked.
Okay, that's real good. That's real good. What's invisible but you wish people could see?
The spiritual world. the spiritual world, because honestly, like I'm telling you, because I'm a man of faith. The Bible says that we don't fight against flesh and blood, but against powers and principalities and the spirits in the wicked places. Sometimes people think that when someone says something that is bad, that person is bad, but they don't understand that there's a spirit behind them that is giving them those things to say, and it's not the person that we need to be fighting against. We're not our own enemies. It's the spirit behind them that's the enemy. We're not each other's enemies.
That's deep. That's real. That's hot right there. I like that. I really do. If you had the world's attention for 30 minutes, what would you say?
If I had the world's attention for 30 minutes, I would definitely say what God has created in this world for us to fulfill and what we're supposed to do. And I would bring all the attention that I could, not to me, but to what God has done within me. And just as he did it for me, he can do it for every other person on this earth. Every person on this earth. Just as he transformed my life from being a skinny punk, alcoholic, thug on the south side of Tucson, to being a man that has served his nation and has been married to his wife for 10 years and has these children, that he can do it for everybody else. He can deliver drug addicts, alcoholics, prostitutes, the destitute, the homeless. Now, it doesn't matter what you deal with. God loves you and he can change your life.
I like that. I really do. I really, really do, man. What's your number one pet peeve?
My number one pet peeve, I think, is spelling. Spelling. I'm silly like that, but like I look on Facebook and sometimes people put the wrong there or they are, or the wrong to, and I'm like, that. I don't know why, but that gets me.
That annoys you.
Yeah, it really does.
Okay. I can kind of relate to it. Okay. What's one thing you'll always remember from your childhood?
One thing that I'll always remember from my childhood is how my mother always made sure that us brothers and sisters, we love each other. Mm-hmm. There's 8 of us. I'm the oldest of 8, and we're brothers and sisters, so we're gonna fight. But my mom always said, no, that's your brother, that's your sister, you love them. You don't tell them that, you love them.
Exactly.
And still to this day, we're all close.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what it's all about right there, man. That's what it's all about. Hey, yo, Cisco, man, I appreciate you joining me this week here on the 1130 podcast. It was an honor chatting with you. Before you go, you have any questions for me? Anything you would like to say? Any shout outs?
Hey, I appreciate you, my brother Dre. I thank you for inviting me and having me on. It's awesome to see people like yourself that are just trying to make a difference in the world, and you find something positive and you try to bring that positivity to change the world. And that's what the world needs right now, is a lot of world changers. Not people that follow trends, not people that are just, fitting in the same box that you were told to fit in, but someone that's willing to stand up, stand out, and stand firm for what's right and make a difference. And I appreciate you, and I thank you for having me.
No problem, man. No problem. That means a lot, because I started podcasting almost a year and a half ago. You started in the beginning of January?
Yeah, that's right. Just this year.
It's so awesome to, just keep connecting. I always do a prayer, before I have my podcast, and I'm about to have a guest that let the show be, blessed, and, everything, and just let God, continue to connect me with like-minded people, so it's such a honor, and it's such a dope time to chat with just different people, from across the world that, like you said, you visiting places that you wouldn't have in the military, and me just probably would have chatting with so many different people or met, just doing this podcast. So it's really awesome, man. And I thank you for everything, man. You're truly inspiration in everything you've been through, and just keep doing your thing. I really, really dig the podcast. That's why I reached out to you the first time. I knew I had family members who were in the military and stuff like that, and I know, me living in the city, man, it's a, really huge, issue with, people who go in the military and then they come home. So it's a lot of homeless people here. So, any person I can, reach out to, share their story or shine a light on them, or, just chat with them is awesome. So, it's been a great time chatting with you, man. So I appreciate it. Thank you, man. For real. It was awesome.
All right. I appreciate you. Thanks a lot once again for having me. Man, I'm watching and I love doing this this podcasting. Let's change the world, brother. Let's change the world.
Yes, I'm with it, man. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. And you guys, man, Brazen Veracity comes out each and every Monday, you guys, on Spotify, Anchor FM, wherever you get your podcasts at, Apple Podcasts. You guys go subscribe, go listen to it. Cisco, man, you're welcome anytime. Thank you for spending your time out of your day with me to chat with me on the podcast this week.
All right, Dre. I appreciate you. God bless you, brother.
All right, man. Thank you. Great time, man. Great time chatting with my man Cisco from Tucson, Arizona. Yo, you guys, man, like I was just saying with him, it's moments like this. It's moment like this when I have guys, man, or girls on the podcast, that could come on and just be a true motivation, and just can talk their stuff, man. And Cisco, it was an awesome time having you on the podcast this week to share your light and everything, from the military and from depression and for everything, man. It was really awesome. And man, you're welcome anytime. The podcast Brazen Varieties, you guys, comes out each and every Monday, you guys, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It's on Pandora, you guys, iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts, you guys, go check out my guy podcast. It's really, really great, you guys. If you want to start your week off that Monday strong with some very, very true inspirational words from my guy Cisco. So go check it out, man. Go check it out. It's real awesome. But you guys, man, what a show. What an awesome show. I thank you guys for stopping past here on the 1130 podcast. You dig, man? Man, Wednesday already. It's just been an awesome week, you guys. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. Man, we're almost, you guys, getting close to 10,000 views on YouTube, you guys. For everybody who's been watching, keep watching. Tell somebody. Then make sure they tell somebody, because once you stand in front of them while they tell somebody else, and then you go tell somebody else, for real. Tell somebody about the 1130 podcast. I mean, I think I said this on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, man. I was on a ride on my way back home, and a guy who was just talking to me, he was just talking. And I said, yo, man, you ever heard of a podcast? Because some people, man, they love to talk, man, and they don't even realize that, yo, if you love to talk, well, you need to do something with it. But, yo, he was just talking, man, and I'm just like, yo, man, that's what's up, and I was, talking back with him, and I was just like, yo, the podcast, and I was like, man, the 1130 podcast, it's my podcast, you come on and talk to me or whatever like that, or, hey, some ideas maybe to start your own podcast or something. But man, hey, just tell somebody, man, for real. But I thank you guys for joining me each and every week, man. It's an honor. It's dope that for everybody who come and leave a comment and like it and just tell me, man, just keep doing it. So it's I dig it. I really, really do dig it, man, for real. And also, you guys, man, every Friday for my wrestling podcast, you guys, man, who just love listening to me chat my wrestling, we just about less than 1,000 downloads away from 3,000 downloads total, you guys. We're less than that. When it hit, I'm gonna let you guys know. We're gonna celebrate it for real, man, because we're trying to keep growing here at the 1130 podcast, man. Real, I love it. You feel me? Like my man Cisco said, it's time to take over the world. You feel me? It's time to take over the world. And no, I don't, let my disability or let anything, come in between, me trying to succeed or get to the next level in life. This is not this doesn't define me. This is not who I am. This is just something that's a part of me. And for real, like last week's episode, use your disability, man, as a superpower. Everybody got one. You feel me? My fiance, pulled a joke on me and talk about superpowers activated. You need to get a shirt to say superpowers activated. I said, you know what? All right, don't leave a comment no more. Don't leave a comment no more. You too funny. You is too funny, man. But you guys, man, yo, this was an awesome episode. Yo, give the glory to God, man. Give the glory to God. It was an awesome response that my man Cisco said, man. One thing about your childhood that you always remember that, yo, man, your sisters and brothers, man, love one another, man. Love one another. We might not chat every day, but love one another, man. Call one another. Say, yo, I love you. All my sisters out there. My sister just had a birthday last week, man. So sis, I love you, my other sister, all my sisters and brothers and everything. I love all of you guys, and I appreciate it so much, man. It's been an awesome show, man. I've been having fun, man. For real. This is, you guys, the 75th episode, you guys, man, of the 1130 podcast. Going strong, you guys, in 25 episodes, you did. Yes, if we going at the ball, we going, you guys, in October. It is coming up to be the 100th episode of the 1130 podcast. Yes, you guys, the 100 episode. And I want to hear you guys' feedback. I want to hear you what you guys think and who I should have as a guest on the 1130 podcast 100th episode, you guys. It's coming this October, you guys, on EB Radio and YouTube. So for real, man. Follow me on social media, hit me up, leave a comment, tell me what you think. Who should I have on the guest? If you would like to see them on the 1130 podcast, like I said, tell them about the 1130 podcast and tell them hit your man Dre up and we can work for real. So, yo, man, that's going to be a great accomplishment for me. So, yes, the 100th episode. I want to hear what you guys think who should be a guest on the podcast, or who would you like to see a guest on the podcast better off? That's what I should say. So, yeah, that's going to be fun, man. That's going to be really fun. But you guys, man, before I go and before I get on out of here, you guys, y'all already know what time it is, man. Don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. Follow me on Twitter at Dre on Wheels. Follow me on Instagram at the 1130 podcast. Like the 1130 podcast on Facebook. Subscribe. Yes, subscribe to the 1130 podcast on YouTube for everybody who's listening to me on EB Radio today. Yes, I'll take a moment. Yeah, okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Yo, man, for real. Subscribe to the 1130 podcast on the YouTube. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode, you guys, man. And yo, the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling. Like I said, you guys, I'm about to hit 3K downloads, total downloads of the wrestling podcast. I thank you guys for joining me each and every Friday to checking out and listening. Last week's episode, that I had my guys Freddie Hudson and Prayers from Quebec, Canada on. That was a really great episode. Was doing really good on YouTube also. But man, yo, man, just tune in, man, while I interview some of your favorite independent referees, ring announcers, you name it, you guys, all wrestling, you dig, each and every Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you guys would like to be a guest here on the podcast, email me. That's the1130podcast@gmail.com. the1130podcast@gmail.com, or just hit me up on social media so we can work for real, you can dig. And if you guys, man, were watching on YouTube, before we go, download the EB Radio app for real, man. I'm serious, man, for real. Like I said, with everybody on EB Radio, yes, for real, EB Radio. You see that logo? You see that logo right there, right? EB Radio, right there. Yep. As soon as you see it, download it. Yeah, tune in. You got some great podcasts. You missed it this morning, man. Ride the Wave was dope, man. Every Monday, you got the Bond Chronicles podcast. You got Quiet Storms. You got Throwback DJs. You got dope podcasts such as the 1130 podcast, man. For real, man. For real, you guys. Tune in to EB Radio, you dig, man. Yo, man, I'm about to get on out of here. For real, you guys. It's been the first episode of May. How you guys May doing? I know. It's doing great. Yo, man, I'm out of here, man. Hope everybody have a great week. Stay blessed, man. For real, man. Give all the glory. Give all the glory to God, you guys, man. For real. Give it all to God. Yo, it's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels, and I'm out.
I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. 1130 podcast, Dre on Wheels, he is the one. Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? Let's get it, yeah. No, with me, yeah. I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. Let's get it. 1130 podcast, Dre on Wheels, he is the one. He the one, nigga. So let's get it, baby. He the one. With me, so breeze, baby. Let's get it. You.
stopping this. I'ma keep making hits. Dre and Will, you know it ain't no copying. Was you sitting there on the carpet with us? Yeah, we knew we had some options. We blessed, we ain't got them problems.